Banger, what's going on? I am Daniel Decay and I'm live here in the Banger Hangar. It's been a while. It's great to be back with y'all. We have a very special live Q&A today, not your normal Lockhorns scheduled programming. I am super stoked to be back here to talk to you about the Lockhorns Marathon that we got going on, to give you some more details about the Patreon campaign we're currently running, some awesome stuff we got planned on that, and then of course we're going to get to the nerdy stuff at the end. We'll talk about your picks for the Best of 2018 episode, which is surely coming your way soon. Stay tuned, we'll get to all that. Before we get there, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's joining us in the live stream right now to be a part of the Q&A. We got fans from Chile, Scotland, Bavaria, Germany, Australia, Croatia, Sweden, Finland, Portugal, South Africa, California, Ohio, Florida, Texas, Georgia, Saskatoon, Toronto, Montreal, and you right here with us here in Toronto, Canada. So, well, we've got some Lockhorns live chat versions in the chat today. James McHugh from Middlesbrough in the UK. Welcome to your first time. Some really weird stuff's about to happen over the next 30 or so minutes, so stay tuned and welcome to the family. Jamie Laszlo, regular viewer. If too many of you in Florida start voting on the Best of 2018, it might take us 2 weeks to count the votes. Let's keep politics out of this chat, folks. I want to give you guys a quick update on where we're at with our Patreon campaign. If you're not aware, we have a BangerTV Patreon that's been launched. We are trying to bring you as much of the best programming as possible, and we are only able to do that with your help. We currently sit at about $7,000 a month on our Patreon donors, and we're looking to get to our next goal, which is $10,000. And when we do that, we'll be able to have a Lockhorns Marathon, which we will talk about in detail today. Since we've announced our stretch goals, Sam did a video earlier this week. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. We've gained about 100 new donors, and we're now setting a deadline for December 1st for the $10,000 goal to be met. Now, to put that into a little bit of perspective for you, if 1% of our current subscribers donated a measly $5 a month, we would smash and exceed our goal of $10,000. So let that sink in for a bit, all you guys watching our programming for free. Think about throwing down a quick $5 and helping make our dreams come true. But what's up, Lisa?
It's been so long since I've rung the bell. I feel like I need to ring the bell. That's what I do here, because you forgot to introduce me.
Oh, I was getting there. I mean, you know, maybe I wanted to hear the bell too. It's been a hot minute. There you go.
It's been a bit of a minute, guys. It's really cool to see so many of our longtime Lockhorns fans in the chat. We do have a couple more virgins we can give some shout-outs to.
Shout-outs to the virgins in the Lockhorns chat today. Martin Graff having his Lockhorns cherry popped. It's my first live stream too, he says. Lumpu finally got to see a live show. Greetings from Finland. What's up, man? And joking, first of y'all's live streams. So thanks for joining us in the live stream for your first time. Hopefully it is the first of many. Lisa, shall we get to it?
Yeah, we're going to talk about some records this hour, but what we're going to start at is trying to explain what we want to do with this Lockhorns Marathon. Typically, we do one topic per show. We'll do like a genre of metal, best thrash metal albums. That's where we met Daniel Decay way back in the day. Sometimes we do essential albums by genre. Sometimes we do essential albums by band. And every once in a while, we do like these best of the year Lockhorns shows. We try and cram in like every genre into 1 hour, and it doesn't work. Right? There's just too much metal, and we're comparing apples to oranges. So the idea with the marathon is that we would have specific hours dedicated to these topics back to back to back. And to help us choose those topics, we want to hear from you guys. So what are the genres of metal that made an impact in 2018, that put out records that you want us to talk about? And we'll draw them on the board, and we'll probably start with death metal. It seems like it's the year, right?
It was a very hot year for death metal. It's like extremely hot, especially some cool shit coming out of Canada that we'll talk about. I just want to add on what Lisa said about my first introduction to Banger being on the Thrash Lockhorns. I have to tell you guys that I have a very special attachment to Lockhorns because of that day. If you watch the episode, it was kind of one of those things where the hour ran up and Sam Dunn and I kind of looked at each other and we're like, as if an hour's already passed. We have so much more to cover. So you have to understand that, I mean, the program's set for an hour, but some of these genres and topics are clearly way too expansive to cover in an hour. So that's why we're talking about doing this marathon for you guys. But should I be putting some genres on the board that we want to cover during the marathon?
Yeah, let's do that.
Totally. So
Let's start with death metal.
So right off the bat, death metal is clearly going to be a hot topic for a Lockhorns marathon. What else do we got on the board? What's popular right now? I know where my head's at, but I want to see what you guys are all thinking about.
Well, you've got some friends like Agai Strauss.
Agai Strauss, he's my thrash dude. He wants to see some stuff about thrash. Definitely going to get there. We got Alexander Ferris and Roke Arias and Will Halverson all screaming for black metal. That's an obvious pick. It was an amazing year for black metal, including the Wicked black metal show that Lisa and I were at earlier this week, or last week, I should say. What else do you guys want to talk about? Of course, Melodeath. Will Halverson again chiming in on that. Metalcore made huge waves this past year. I know Brad will be super stoked to see that one on the board.
Stoner, Doom.
Stoner and Doom was massive. I think that's no secret. Getting low on the board here. Stoner, Doom. What do we got? Melodeath for sure.
We got Ryan Caldwell asking for German thrash, which is actually something we've talked about doing. I know, DK, you'd be in for that one.
Totally in for a Teutonic thrash chat.
What about 2018, though? Is that a year for it?
I don't know. I mean, that's ultimately up to you guys. I think that German thrash shouldn't be restricted to the year. I'd still love to see an Essential of German Thrash episode or topic on its own in the chat. I mean, when I think about genres for this year, I think that there was also some wicked releases in the traditional, new wave of British heavy metal / traditional metal sound.
Your buddy Thomas, you guys are on the same wavelength.
Totally on the same wavelength. There was a bunch of trad metal that kind of happened, which was rad. There was some amazing, we talked about Doom and Stoner. What about grind? There was some wicked grindcore stuff that went on this year. As you see, the list starts to grow and grow and grow. And next thing you know, we got a bunch of topics. You spend an hour each on those, and we're talking about a Lockhorns marathon, friends. The crossover stuff, I'm seeing lots of cool stuff on the board here. Prog and tech, like totally, these are things that need to get talked about.
We've talked about a crossover episode since you were here doing thrash. It's been a while.
It's funny. It was like well over 2 years ago we did that thrash episode, and we still talk about the idea we came up with that day is that like thrash needs a part 2, and there's so many other genres related to thrash. Like we're talking about crossover, we're talking about blackened thrash, thrash and death. And there's so much in the realm of thrash, and obviously it's my favorite, and I think it might be one of Sam's favorites too. So I would love to see some more expanding in the world of thrash. We've been saying that for over 2 years. Maybe we'll finally do it for you.
Mike Hogue has an interesting suggestion, which has been on our list for a little while.
Mike Hogue, Slayer's last tour. I mean, I went to that tour twice. It was pretty awesome. The last tour, I mean, well, you know, Daniel Williams behind the camera there throwing up the quotations. I mean, I went to that tour twice. I think it was a brilliant set list and an amazing show. The opening bands are rad. Good friends of Banger on the bill, Testament. That's totally something that we could talk about. And tours in general are something that we would love to talk about on the marathon.
I think we've been having Slayer essential albums discussions for a while.
Totally. We would be remiss not to give Slayer some love, especially with it being their last year. It's kind of hard to imagine a world without Slayer. I don't even really want to think about it right now. It's kind of depressing. On the board,
some more genres.
Some more genres. So I got Carlos Javier Bernardez Garcia. Daughters is the album of the year. Let's talk about some noise rock. Interesting. Does noise rock belong in an episode of Lockhorns? Well, that's up to you guys. I am not opposed to talking about things loud and heavy. Another interesting one on the board here, The Walking Deadpan says, I don't know if it made waves this year, but we need a U.S. power metal lock horn since you guys kind of fucked them over in your power metal lock horns. Okay, so apparently we got to expand on the power metal thing and get into the U.S. power metal. There's definitely some essential, modern, and classic records to talk about from U.S. power metal. It's actually, yes, HR the Flame Blades Wielder. Where'd you go? There you are. Yo, yo, yo. We need a Motorhead Essential Albums. Yo, yo, yo. I couldn't agree more.
Maybe we'll write those off to the side. Slayer, Motorhead, like for 2019 and beyond when we do Essential Albums by bands.
Slayer.
For the marathon, we'll probably
Motorhead.
just do year-end, but who knows? Maybe if there's a lot of demand for one of those, we'll throw one of those in on the marathon day.
getting
We're going to go
forced
for
off
like
screen here.
8 hours. That's the idea, right? 8 hours, maybe more, depending on stamina and Patreon donations. But the idea is if we reach our goal of 10,000, we will have everyone in here, the whole team, and we're going to go for like 8 hours at least, just talking.
Yeah, so maybe we should make it a little more clear on what we mean when we say marathon. Like once we hit this $10,000 goal, which it would be so rad. We currently sit at $7,000 in the Patreon. I mean, it would be so cool to see us get to $8,000 in the Patreon by the end of this stream. And
we're at 7,171. So about 100 new people have signed up to our campaign since we launched the stretch goal last week, which feels really good, you know, if we can keep that momentum going. But we got a ways to go. So
we do got a ways to go, but I mean, it's totally doable. It's less than 1% you throwing down $5. Think about the last thing you spent $5 on and how much better it would have been to spend that $5. Forget your stupid latte. How much better it would have been to spend that $5 on the best and highest quality heavy metal programming one place on the internet. It's a no-brainer for me. I don't know.
people one guy anyway, keeps writing sleep, sleep, and I don't know if he means we're going to need sleep or if he wants us to do a Lockhorns on sleep.
I mean, there will be no sleeping during the Lockhorns Marathon, but yes, Sleep was certainly one of my favorite records of the year. Went and saw them live on that tour. It's the only band I think I've seen ever that has a intermission specifically where the entire venue of 1,200 people all goes outside and smokes weed all at once, including the band backstage, clearly. And yeah, it was pretty cool. It's like a Doob interlude.
I'm just seeing a lot of people asking for the band album debates, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit. We've only done a couple of these. We do want to do more. Is that something like, where does your interest lie? Would you rather see more band essential album debates or more genre debates? Let us know.
Right, because of course Lockhorns all started on the concept of expanding upon the heavy metal family tree from Metal a Headbanger's journey, but a lot has changed in those 12 years. If do you want to see more genres or bands? I'm seeing a lot of love for essential albums from bands. We've got MM saying do Maiden, Cesar Hernandez saying do Anthrax, Hillsborough Sports, more love for Anthrax, Oliver Grunsays, Rush essential albums, Ayler Sorensen, Paradise Lost essential albums. I like the way you think. So I mean, essential albums are totally something that I'm into. If that's what you want to see more of, speak now. This is your time to have your voice be heard.
Both.
Yes, everything. Genre. So I got a lot. So I'm watching this stream, the chat live right now. So it's genres, both, typo negative, Maiden, Morbid Angel, bands. I mean, I think the sky's the limit.
Thank you to Raymond Alv Christensen. I'm screwing up your name, as is the tradition here at Banger and Apologize, who just upped his donation. He was a Patreon donor, and now he's gone up. He's helping us reach that goal. If that's you as well, if you're like, oh, we can ring a bell. Because that helps us reach our goal. We can ring the bell for so many reasons.
Listen, Lisa loves ringing that bell. Everyone who donates to the Patreon during this stream and tells us in the chat, Lisa's ringing the bell for you.
Now, people hate the bell, though.
But you love it.
But I love it.
And we love you, so let's make that bell ring. Let's do it, folks.
Like one of those cheesy bars where they ring the bell when they get tips or some shit. I don't know.
The Banger Hanger's been transformed into a sports bar, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm going to give you a chance to catch your breath, and because you're going to start talking about your favorite albums of 2018 with these people. And I just want to, like, as the producer of Lockhorns, really give a sense of what goes into the live stream. We know how much y'all love watching us, and I'm sorry I just said y'all like I had a Brad Zordragger moment, but it's actually a really expensive show to make because it takes a lot of people to make it. We have someone behind the camera who's operating 3 cameras and doing sound. We have a technician who's making sure the live stream goes up and stays up and troubleshoots. We have people doing graphics in advance for our opening sequences. I'm getting like guests and planning the show and working on the live chat. We have the host, we have the guests, we have to order the magnets from the printer. Like, when you add all of this together, it's actually a really expensive show to make, which is why we haven't been able to do it on a weekly basis since the period where it was funded by the government. So as Sam was explaining in the video, our programming gets funded by the government for certain periods of time, and outside of that, we kind of have to invest in it ourselves, which we've done a lot of over the last 3 years. Everyone here works like 2 or 3 jobs. Most of our hosts are coming in after hours after they've already worked a full day job. So a little bit PBS for a moment, but I just want you all to understand how many people actually work to bring you the show, and we all would love to get back on the air. So if you can help us out with a monthly Patreon donation, I'm gonna ring the bell, we're gonna talk about metal, it's gonna be awesome. That's my big pitch.
That was an unreal pitch put in a way that only Lisa Ladouceur could formulate. While you were going off on that, I was reading the board, and there are some hilarious suggestions for topics. Campiest albums in the genre.
Start writing some down.
I think I love this. There was some love for. We could talk about album covers, both your favorites and the campiest. We could compare notes there. We're talking about best solos I saw come up. What else was up there? Oh yeah, so we talked about tours, perhaps tour packages or best live performances.
That's the bell ringing for Dalton Kennett. Thanks for upgrading your donation, helping us get to the Lockhorns Marathon.
That.
It's Jerry's kids in here now, guys. It's like, it's turned into a telethon. Thanks, though. Thanks, man.
I mean,
shout out Dalton.
We've been offering like kick-ass t-shirts and patches and shout-outs if you donate to Patreon. Little did we know, all we had to say was Lisa will ring the bell for you if you donate. And
Look at that.
We're well on our way, folks. So that's exciting. So thank you, Dalton. That's rad. We talking about, so like back to the list here, we could talk about music videos.
Oh man, best bands who only put out 1 album, says John Edmondson.
Like cult bands who like only put out 1 record, that's totally a thing. Best debut records, that could also be a thing. I guess that counts as a band that only puts out 1 record. So we got debuts.
Count Scotula and Kerbis album covers. I know Blaine would be super into getting into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tearing up some album covers.
Shredding it. No fires allowed in the banger hanger, though. We can't burn any album covers.
So why don't you give us a sense of what are the big albums of the year that you hope appear on this show, some of your favorites people can start thinking about as we're going to get there, guys. We're going to do the show. We're going to do a best of 2018 no matter what, but it's just going to be 1 hour if we don't reach our goal. So let's talk about those key records that need some love in 2018 and why we want to do this marathon.
Yes, and like, I mean, I've got a list like this of albums. Well, don't show them, but I've got a list of this like albums, so please don't restrict myself and whoever's co-hosting with me to 1 hour. Please give us the opportunity to marathon this because there are way too many rad records, genres, and topics to talk about. As you can see, you deserve the marathon. Everyone deserves the marathon. Let's do this. But I don't know, what records did you like this year? I know that I was all over the place with records. I think that there was some amazing, that was a bit of the year of Doom a little bit, Doom and Stoner with huge releases from Windhand as well as Sleep, huge releases from Yob. I know that Blaine was a huge fan of that one. From our like traditional metal heroes, there was some Priest, like Firepower was incredibly well received. People love that. Black metal, we just went to the Behemoth show the other day, good friends of Banger. Love Do It Your Darkest, wicked record. Continuing down the road of darkness, Tribulation down below had a wicked record. I mean, I could sit here and rhyme off records at you
This
all
is
day.
interesting. Lumpu, I think, is our first timer from Finland.
Yes.
More modern stuff. A lot of Banger's history talk about new bands. And he's not wrong. I mean, the first Banger documentary was Headbanger's Journey, and Metal Evolution was also a story about history. So Lockhorns began as a show to recognize history and expand the metal family tree.
Absolutely.
But we've wanted to do best debut albums for a while. Like if we did an hour on the best debut albums of 2018, what would be in there? Let's talk about some of those new bands. It'd be kind of cool.
Right, absolutely. And you know, as I'm sure you can tell by more of the shout outs in some of the Overkill stuff that's going on, we are very much, all of us love listening to modern bands, and we love giving those bands shout outs and love going to underground shows. So I definitely agree with you. We should cover more modern stuff. I mean, we could all sit around and talk about Metallica and Slayer forever, but how much fun is that really when we can talk about rad new bands?
Oh, I don't know. You seem to have a lot of fun talking about Slayer for hours on end.
Slayer! Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I've seen you.
Yeah, she's seen me me and Sam Dunn at a Slayer concert before, so she knows exactly what that's like.
I'm gonna ring the bell.
Ring it.
God, I'm like I'm
Did you
really
just miss?
I'm out of practice on ringing the cowbell.
Guys, she's
I
out of
just
practice.
missed.
She needs your help.
There we go. Jordan Morin, thank you for upping your donation. We're now at 1,046 Patreon donors, totaling $7,194. I feel good about it.
We're going up.
We're going up.
This
We're
is
going
a
up.
real live charity telethon. This is amazing.
It's not charity.
It's not charity.
Not charity.
I mean, have you...
Starving children is charity. This is paying for content that you love that you can't
You're
get
right.
anywhere else because we are real metalheads making shows for you.
Did we just accidentally start the first ever metal telethon?
I hope not.
Internet-a-thon?
I hope not. Okay, that's hilarious. It's Blaine. Yes, Blaine.
Lisa's
I picked today
stoned.
to get stoned for the first time in my life. You caught me,
gave
of
her-
all people.
Gave her an edible. She doesn't even know yet.
Yeah, right. How can we, Sabrina Smith, how can we do a Lockhorns with more focus on underground metal? You know what? Tricky, to be honest, because the idea of Lockhorns is recognizing legacy. We talk about people that deserve to be on this wall of the most important bands of all time. If they're underground but have a legacy and have like an impact, that's awesome. That's a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're just a new band that people are excited about, they don't quite make it on Lockhorns yet, but they might make it
Right.
on the best albums of 2018.
Right, and to expand on that, I noticed on like the big genres at the end, we always try and do especially when talking about an old genre. So when we talk about speed metal, for instance, something that may be perceived as dead or not as popular as it once was, as Martin Popoff put it. At the end of that episode, we try and talk, well, who's doing speed metal now? Who are the new people in that genre we can recognize? I think it's important to talk about the future of the genres and the underground people waving that flag at the end of each episode. We're going to stop everything and read this comment, though, because it needs to happen. Brian Perrone, how about the Essential Testament albums? Absolutely a great idea. As you know, we are huge fans of Testament here at Banger. I love how we go from talking about underground,
I know.
underground bands
Somehow
to like,
it all-
stop the clocks, we're talking about Testament.
Somehow it always comes back to like classic thrash with Daniel DK and Sam Dunn for some reason.
Guilty as charged. Testament. I know there was a bunch of people who talked about Anthrax as well. I'm just going to throw that up there because to me they are certainly
Oh, here's a good one.
one of my favorites. I'd like to see a debate on why Ghost is so popular and hyped. I'd love to host a debate on why Ghost is so popular and hyped. As someone who went to their first show in this city and has seen almost every show since and kind of followed the whole progression, gotten a little bit silly with the band a couple times after a few of their gigs. There's a lot of questions to be answered there about the Ghost legacy and winning Grammys, etc. That would be a totally interesting conversation, and it's topical. We could talk about Prequel, their new record this year that was very well received. That's a great idea. There's definitely some merit in talking about.
Want to write
Ghost
that
at length.
down?
Yeah.
So we don't forget?
Yeah. It's not an essential albums though. It's just a topic.
Oh,
So I'm
man.
gonna put it in its own little floating world over here.
Princess Scarlet, do an episode just around Mike Patton and his projects. You know Sam Dunn be down for that.
Sam Dunn would do his own 8-hour Lockhorns marathon.
Just on Faith No More.
Yeah, actually, if I can tell a really good Faith No More Sam Dunn story, after one of our parties, we had a party to celebrate our 100,000 subscribers. We all got together, and the activity for the night that Sam Dunn had chosen was to go see a Faith No More cover band because he fucking loves Faith No More that much. Moving forward, this is actually something I see whenever I post about Lockhorns on my social media. There's inevitably a handful of people who are always talking about seeing a DSBM episode. HOHRP is one of those people. He says, I'd like to see some talking about DSBM and post-black. So that's kind of, expanding on this one here. DSBM and post.
You have nice handwriting.
Really?
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's better than mine.
Good
job.
Who knew? See, I'm left-handed though, so it's a pain in the ass. Sometimes you wipe it off.
See, people are already debating Ghost in the chat. I think that
Ghost is pop. Stop promoting.
we should have an hour on Ghost in the marathon, guys. Make it happen. Help us make it happen.
And like just to clarify, it says we're not promoting or not promoting them. It's an interesting topic in metal that you clearly have an opinion on, positive or negative. We want to hear it. It's about locking horns, guys.
Guys, we're
Locking
over.
horns.
We're over $7,200 now, so
Good ring the.
it's going up.
We're gonna ring the
I
bell.
don't know who it was. Thank you for donating to our campaign while we're doing this live stream. We're not going to keep going on the live stream today until we reach 10 grand, though.
Should we?
That's not going to happen. We're going to wrap it up in just a few minutes.
I didn't bring a pillow, so we can't do that. Should we talk about more records? Like we're gonna have to do a best of 2018 episode. Exciter. Gonna have to do a best of 2018 episode eventually. I believe I get a bell ding. It's Sam Rosen right there.
I believe you, Sam Rosen. I believe Sam's.
Thank you, Sam. We really appreciate you.
Here's one. Dalton, we've heard from before, but he's back.
I swear to God, write Lamb of God on that board for essential albums. Dalton, definitely a very popular band and friend of Banger. They have an expansive discography as well.
You know what? It's called Lockhorns, so let's not ignore the critical comments. Here's one.
Tusk Music. Okay, guys, I'm unsubbing. All you ever do is play it safe and talk about the same bands over and over again. People asking for bands that haven't made a record for a decade or more. It's dull as fuck. So when we're talking about reviewing the best records of 2018 that have all come out in the last 12 months, that's bands that haven't made records for a decade. I'd like to think that we're pretty fair, especially in the shout-outs and overkill, showing support to underground bands. Sucks that you're unsubbing, but I mean, on that pretense, it doesn't really make sense to me, so. Good.
Also giving us some some locking of horns. Our friend Aggressive Tendencies in the chat.
Okay, Aggressive Tendencies. Lamb of God doesn't have enough albums for essential albums. Well, the huge picture of Randy Blythe that I'm currently staring at on the wall would certainly disagree with you. But that's why we're here. We're here to lock horns and talk about it. Because as that last so polite viewer just reminded us, it is not always fun to play it safe. We love to talk about controversy, and we love to let you guys lock horns. That's the fucking point. Korgel the Exterminator, a regular viewer. Do demos. Respect the history of extreme metal. Bands had to struggle for years before releasing albums. I think that's a very cool point. I think there's totally some merit in talking
Best demos.
about the best demos.
We get Sarah Kitteringham in here. She's got this
The
cassette cult.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
To talk about dubbed, the OG demos and all the dubbed cassettes, and how each time you dub it for your friend, it gets shittier and shittier sounding, but it was the only way to get music. And I think there's a cool topic in there. Thank you for the amazing suggestion.
So the great thing here is that all of the chat, including the ones we haven't been able to shout out live, is archived now on YouTube. So we can scroll back after this broadcast and really dive into the things that you guys most want us to do in the marathon if we get to the $10,000.
Kelsey Adams just as the chat is ripping by. Kelsey Adams made a really cool point that I'm super into. How about a local metal band rig rundown, gear rules? This is something that I'm totally for and we've done some stuff. I'll leave it at that. We've done some stuff in that realm. I love gear. I'm a big gear nerd, and I would love to do that. So stay tuned on that. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I mean, since Shredders of Metal, we're trying to do more about gear, more about guitars specifically. We know a lot of our viewers are in bands
Absolutely.
and play guitar, and we've got a guy here who likes to nerd out about that stuff. So you can expect more of that for sure. I'm going to answer this from Brian Baker. Speaking of controversy, we should talk at some point about racism in metal. And you're right, we should. And we've had many meetings here at Banger about that topic. If you've been around for a while, you might remember we did a show on sexism in metal. It was a total fucking shit show, to put it mildly, that we had to turn the comments off on because we got so many like horrible death threat troll people on our channel. So if we can find a way to have a discussion about these topics that is respectful from different points of view, we're totally going to do it.
Do you mean communicate like a bunch of civilized adults?
Yeah. So if we can figure out how to do that so that the people on the show aren't getting literally death threats from strangers on the internet, we're totally going to do it. One of the ideas for the marathon for 2018 is to talk about controversies in general in metal that have happened throughout the year, things in the news. We talk about As I Lay Dying, like, you know, there's some stuff.
You know what?
There's some tours, you know, there's some stuff.
We got huge new bands we got to talk about too. We got to talk about controversies like Threaten, that massive, huge band from LA that is, you know, making the waves right now, stuff like that. We want to talk about interesting things going on in the world of heavy metal.
So we are at that time that the live stream is going to end. We were going to do this for about 30 minutes, have a chat with you guys, and then get back to our making Overkill Global and the other content that we make, and trying to convince more people to join us on Patreon.
But we didn't even get to talk about boring old bands that never put out records like Chemist, Tumult, Sumac, Witch Hazel, Conan. Yeah, all those super outdated bands that we never talk about because all we do is talk about fucking Metallica. So
I can't believe no one has mentioned Cannibal Cam. To be honest with you,
to bring him back in?
Yeah.
Oh, it's clearly on the dock for the marathon is to have Cannibal Cam in here, and if he wears anything less than flip-flops and short shorts in the middle of winter, I will be thoroughly disappointed.
I've just done a check on Patreon. We now have, we're up to 1,052 donors, and hi, Blaine.
It's Blaine. Hey, Blaine, what are you up to, man? This is we're a family operation here.
Why I'm just fulfilling some orders of our cool patches and pins.
Hey,
Ooh. Secret stuff.
That's the secret stuff.
Oh, yeah, secret stash. We're not.
Only Patreon donors know about the patches.
Shh. Yeah, so if you don't know about the... Yeah.
It's over there.
We have two Daniels in studio.
Yeah, so basically, if you're a donor, you already know about the patches.
You already know about the kick-ass merch if you're a donor. If you don't, we've got these amazing Riddick shirts here. A good friend of Banger and an amazing artist. He's revamped our logo. We got limited edition shirts, a couple of those left in the Patreon. We've got these wicked Banger patches. About time we had some kick-ass merch available for you guys again. Only available through the Patreon. Get on there. Get some stuff. Help us make this Lockhorns Marathon a reality.
Oh, God. Threaten special.
Threaten special, please. Darker days.
It'll be in controversies. How about that?
It's totally falls under controversies. Yeah. I mean, like, another controversy, picking a best metal album of 2018 is going to be near impossible because Power Trip didn't come out with a record this year. Just kidding, but sort of, not really. Lisa, where are we at?
We are at the time where we say goodbye.
I hate saying goodbye. This is what I'm talking about.
That's why we need to do a marathon.
This is the exact reason.
We hate it.
It's literally the worst. Like, I don't even want to, I don't want to do it. I hate signing off. It's terrible. I just want to hang out with you guys all day, read your comments, argue with you, laugh with you, cry with you, sing Slayer lyrics with you. Can we please do a Crust episode? You know what? Actually, quickly, I think that Crust and D-Beat should totally get some love in the genres. And for all of you guys who are into that greasier stuff, I think that there should totally be like the crusty D-Beat bands that cross into the realm of the metal world, we should totally be talking about that because there is definitely some crossover and fucking good tunes is good tunes. There's lots of stuff going on here. I could read these comments for days, but Lisa will actually kill me because all I do is ramble on these things. Join the Patreon, follow us on all the social medias, make this Lockhorns marathon a reality.
Like, look at how many ideas there are. We have way more than 8 hours of ideas.
And this
right?
this doesn't even include like the obvious pizza party that we're gonna have in the middle of it, and the amazing we're gonna have bring back some of your favorite guests. We'll have some phone-in guests. We'll call in all the favors. We'll get some huge phone-in guests for you guys. All the hosts will be present. I mean, it doesn't get much cooler than that. We are gonna do
Best bark crimes.
where
Essential
oh
bark
yeah,
crimes.
no essential bar crimes GLTS. Glam Essentials, crossover, albums of the year, horror punk, covers, moms who love metal.
Or how about just what Andrew Michael has here to sign us off?
No goodbyes, just see ya in hell. Thanks for the wicked sign off, Andrew Michael. We'll catch you later. Please get on that fucking Patreon. Let's do this, guys.